Hi people, welcome back to my channel. Today we are celebrating the best books that I read in 2025. It is 2026 already, can you believe it? I am turning 25 this year. Sorry, I just need a minute. This year, well, last year, because we're in 2026, I read 125 books, and I swear to you that was not on purpose. And I am so happy with my reading year. Without any further ado, I will tell you guys about the best books that I read in 2025. I think the book that surprised me the most this year was The Traveling Cat Chronicles by Hiro Arikawa. I do not have the book with me because I have it in French and it's somewhere in my bookshelves, but I couldn't find it. You follow Nana, a cat. He is the narrator of the story, of his own story, and you follow him and his owner Satoru as his owner is trying to find him a new home. You don't really know why he needs a new home. It was heartbreaking, and it was such a beautiful and sad book and full of hope, and I just loved reading it so much, and I did not expect anything out of it at all, which is I think how I should read all of my books. I recommend this book if you love cats and if you like a good story that will make you cry. One of the greatest stories of all time is A Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison. This is hands down one of the best middle grade that I have read in a long time. In 2025, I read the best middle grade ever. So in this story, you follow three sisters, Betty, Fliss, and Charlie. The middle sister, Betty, is really adventurous. She would like to get out of her island and see what's out there, but she cannot do that because the sisters are cursed, and if they ever leave their hometown, well, their homeland, they will die the following sunrise or sunset, I don't remember. But that will not stop Betty because she is desperate and she needs to find something to break the curse, and she is determined to do that with her sisters. And it is such a great little story. There are three books in this series, but I really love this book, especially because you have another story inside the story, and I really like it when books do that. Whether you're an adult or a teenager or even still a child, I think you will love this book regardless of your age. I really recommend it, and I would give anything to be able to read this book again for the first time because it was really such a beautiful book, such a good adventure. This year I read Love Somebody by Rachel Roasek. So in this story you follow three characters, Sam, Ross, and Christian. Ross is short for Rosaline, so Ross is a girl. Christian has the biggest crush on Rosaline, and Sam, his ex-girlfriend, is going to help him get the girl. The thing is that Christian is really shy. Sam is going to take over all his conversations, like online conversations with Rosaline. So when Rosaline is going to be thinking that she's talking to Christian, she is really in fact talking to Sam and falling for Sam. I had so much empathy for all three of those people. I really loved following their little love story, and it was so beautifully written. But I really recommend this romance because I've not seen anyone talk about it. This is my hype moment for this book. I think it deserves all the love that you can give it. I really enjoyed reading this book, and I know that some of you out there will enjoy reading this book too. Towards the end of the year, I read The River Has Roots by Amal El Mohtar. This book is so small, and I was so disappointed in seeing the size of this book because I read this book so fast. In this story, you follow two sisters who really love each other dearly until one day both of their lives are endangered by a forceful suitor? Sorry, sometimes my accent just gets weird. This book was so beautiful because of the way that Amal El Mohtar writes all of her books. Her writing style is really special. It's full of metaphors. It's very whimsical, very lyrical, and I really love that about her books. I really love this book, and I recommend it if you really like whimsical type of kind of writing. I think you will also enjoy this book. I finally read Malibu Rising by Jenkins Reid. So in this book you follow Nina and her sibling as they get famous, and you follow their life story and the story of their parent particularly too. I think it's my new favorite book by Jenkins Reid. This book is a novel. Her other books are novels too, but you get a lot of interviews in them, and I'm not a big fan of that format, but here it is only novel all the way through, and I really loved the flashbacks and the life story that were given about Nina's parents. If you don't know Taylor Jenkins Reid and you love reading, I recommend any of her books because she is kind of a reference, and I've been loving all of her books ever since I read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six. But this one, I think, really is my favorite by her. I have yet to read Atmosphere, but this was a great read and I really recommend it. I read Loveless by Alice Oseman. In this story, you follow Georgia as she goes to uni with her best friend, and as she decides that these years are going to be the years for her to fall in love. She would like to meet the person that is going to change her life forever. The problem is the idea of romance is really great, but then when she sees herself romantically or sexually with anyone, it just kind of doesn't work. So you follow her as she figures out her sexuality and who she is. I loved this book because I could relate to Georgia a lot in my own life and in my own experience of sexuality. Loveless is a book that I really wanted to read because I read the blurb, and so I was like, this is a book that I know I will like, and I did, and I think it is a very important book, and I will talk about it more in June for Pride, but I think you should read this book, if only just to educate yourself about other people that are out there and feeling different than you do, because representation is important, representation matters, and Alice Oseman does that pretty well with actually all of her books, and I highly recommend it. I read the best mangas ever, Planetarium Ghost Travel by Sakana Sakatsuki. In this story, you follow Agent 303. He works for the Planetarium Ghost Travel Agency. In this story, you have entire planets, people on planets falling asleep and turning into trees. You don't know why that is happening. The more people fall asleep, the less people are here to remember their culture, their history. His job is to go to those planets and gather pieces and bits of culture. I loved this book because even though you have a whole plot, which is people are falling asleep, what is happening? Why are they turning into trees? Is that reversible? We don't really know much about everything that's happening, but that's not the main focus of this book. The main focus of this book is really to preserve the culture of those people, which I think is such a great and original idea. This book really took me places and I loved it so much, and I love the artwork in this book. The art is stunning and the story is amazing. I really like that we don't really care about what's happening and why are those people falling asleep and turning into trees. We just care to preserve their cultures. You go on that journey with him, you meet those people, the things that they've built, and you're just here trying to keep that alive. And I think it's a beautiful little book. It's a beautiful story. I will never stop recommending this manga. It is such a beautiful piece of art. I think you would enjoy it, and I really did, and I cannot wait for the new books to come out so that I can reread the entire series, because it's only 3 books and I think I'm never gonna get tired of reading those books. I read Blood of Hercules by Jasmine. In this story, you follow the main character Alexis in this post-apocalyptic world where titans are roaming the earth and Greek gods are back to save humans from the titans. So it's common knowledge that the Greek gods exist and anything. It's not like it's a big surprise. It's been settled, people know about it. And Alexis, she doesn't really have anything special. She's just trying to survive through her life. One day a blood test is going to reveal that she is a goddess and now she must go with them and train or die. I did really love the main character. The best main character of all the books that I've just talked about has to be Alexis, because she's really the reason why I loved the book so much. She was so funny. You know, when you're so traumatized, you gotta joke about it. And that's what she does, and she does it really well. And I just really loved the story and the main character Alexis. This book was really good and I loved it all the way through, and I cannot wait to know what happens next and to keep on following Alexis. However, If you are under a certain age, I don't think you should read it. If you are interested in reading it, you should first off check out the trigger warnings in this book. I had to put Fourth Wing somewhere in there. In this story, you follow Violet Sorrengail. She has been trained her whole life to become a scribe until her mother decides that she has to be a writer. The thing with Violet is that she is weak. Her body is not trained for this life. But that doesn't matter. Her mom wants her to be a dragon rider, and so that she will be. Violet is resilient. She is going to learn how to fight, how to turn her weaknesses into a strength. She is such a great main character. She's such a great woman. I have to put this book in here because I started this book to prove myself right and that I was not gonna like it and that it was not worth the hype. That's not what happened. I really loved this book. I also really liked this year A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. In this story you follow Jack. He has been sent to the mainland to study music, but he's called back home because girls are going missing, and well, the people think that he can help with that. This is a fantasy, but I think I wouldn't have liked it as much if it hadn't been written the way it was. So it is a really cozy fantasy. I really loved it. And I'm happy that I discovered a new author, so I think I will try and read more of Rebecca Ross's books because I love the way she writes, and A River Enchanted was such a nice little story. I really loved reading it, and I loved all the characters in this story. You have multiple POVs, and the changing POVs did not bother me one bit. Last but not least, I read Lightfall by Tim Probert, book 1, so I will be buying book 2 very soon, I think. So in this book you follow Bia and the last Galdurian as they go on a quest together to find Bia's grandfather who just went missing. My best friend has been recommending this book to me for the past like 4 years maybe. I really love the artwork in this book and it really made me fall into the story, and I love it when books do that, when you are so deep inside the story that when it's ending, it's just like literally physically painful. That's what happened here, and I cannot wait to fall back into that story, which is why I will be soon buying the 2 other books in this series. So there you have it, guys. These are all my favorite books of 2024. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. It was a really good reading year. I also hope that you guys had a nice reading year as well. I wish you the best for the new year, for 2026. I'll see you soon for another video. Bye!